Happy halfway through Collab Lab, right? Halfway through, I can't believe it. This group is so like, this is like a well-oiled machine. Everything is just flowing so smoothly. I feel like we mentors are just sort of watching you and waiting as you go by. You're just all doing such a great job. So much fun. So let's start with, actually, I want to start with, let's go around and say something nice maybe that happened this week or something that you're looking forward to this coming week. So I'll start and then I'll pick the next person. Let's see, what am I excited about? So we had super good weather today and I got to like lay out in the sun. It's like 80 degrees here and this is Minnesota, people. So it's not usually that nice here. Not at this time of year. So that is my good thing that felt really nice. I'll pass it to Current.
I, as everyone knows, started rollerblading and I learned how to turn. So that's been good. It's been good to know that I can go in multiple directions. So yeah, it's been a big win so far.
Excellent.
And then I'll pass it on to Jono.
Thank you. I put a question in the chat. Do you know how to stop yet?
Oh, heck no. Heck no.
You just fall into the grass.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do.
Love it. Besides starting Shopify, we got our car this week. So we can drive around Seattle, which is super nice. I drove to go pick up food and it was glorious. The food was still hot when I got back home. So that was great.
Nice.
And I can pass on to Caitlin.
Let's see, this week, one nice thing is at work, they have like a diversity and inclusion committee, and it's been really nice to see how involved the tech team is with that committee. And this week they actually did a presentation on accessibility, and I've kind of already gotten a sense, but it was really cool to see how much they also value accessibility. It's like a top priority on the team. So it's just reaffirmed that I really like the culture of the team I'm on. So that's exciting. And I will pass it to Lewis.
Yeah, so next week, I'm going to be getting my second vaccine, and I'm hoping sometime in May, I will be able to go and enjoy the outdoors because the weather is so beautiful right now. So I'm planning some hikes and some like camping trips in the future, which I'm excited for.
I get dose 2 next week too, end of the week.
Awesome.
Excited.
Right, I'll pass to Abby.
Hi. So I guess a thing that made me happy, clearly, you know, my life revolves around my dog at this point. But she is very reactive to other dogs as of right now. And we took her downtown where there's like a lot of other dogs and like slowly brought her in, and she only barked at one dog. So that is a huge win with us. So that made me very happy. And I believe it's just Daria, so I'll pass it off to her.
Well, my best thing is actually my partner's best thing because he works in entertainment, and today he finally got back to work after all this lockdown and COVID, uncertainty. Finally, something is happening, so it feels almost normal now.
Nice. That is super. I used to be an opera singer. That was my job before I was a developer. And so this whole time I've just been thinking about all of my former colleagues, like being out of work for so long. And there's just an article in the New York Times this past week about San Francisco Opera is doing like their first show in 16 months. And like one of my friends is playing Figaro, and I was like, oh my gosh, finally. So that's awesome. Yay, Daria. Cool. All right. Baltimore, Canada. Who would like to go first?
feel like, Abby, I hope you're okay with this, but I want to volunteer us since ours will be probably shorter than the other teams.
Very true. Short and sweet. Yeah, that's fine.
Go for it.
Let's see if I can share the screen. Okay. I'll move our beautiful faces out of the way. Okay, so per usual, I'm just going to remind everyone of our acceptance criteria and then go right into the demo. And then Caitlin's going to talk about our code. So just a reminder for our feature, when we're on the list view, when there's no items to display, it should show a prompt for the user to add their first item. So I will bring up our app right here. And I'm going to keep open our local storage just to show the token. So when a user would open the app, they can go up and create a new list. Like we've seen this feature, but if we click it, we'll see that we now have a user token. And it will give us a message that your shopping list is currently empty and give us a prompt to add item. So if I click on the add item button, it will route us to the add items component. So then we can go ahead and, oh, clearly it wants me to put in coffee. So I'll go ahead and add the item and I'll go back to the list. And you'll see that the message is gone and so is our button prompt. So one thing that I noticed when playing around with it is something that relates to an issue that we still need to work on. So the share token actually doesn't work because of this issue that we need to look into. So when I do add in a token that is, it is in the database, it throws an error. So I think that's something that can be like tacked onto this issue, I believe. So just a heads up. And yeah, I think that's really all the feature was this week. So I'm gonna pass it off to Caitlin.
Thanks, Abby. That was a beautiful demo, as always. So for our code, we really only touched this one file, which was the add items component. And you can see we're already receiving the item list through props. And basically all we had to do was add some conditional logic to check whether or not there was a list and then either show the list or show the welcome prompt. So you can see on line 17 there, we're checking if there is a list, what its length is. So if we are receiving the list, but it has a length of 0. That means that the user has not yet added any items to their list, and it'll show that p tag, your shopping list is currently empty, and then a button that will redirect them to the add items component. And in order to redirect them, we imported on line 4 the use history feature from React Router DOM. And then we added a function on line 7 that will just, when they click on that button, it will redirect them to add items using that use history feature. And that's pretty much it. That's I believe, unless I missed anything. But yeah, does anyone have any questions for us?
I think that was very well done. Nice and it's a very nice and smooth experience. Just a quick question. Abby mentioned something about an error that occurs when you enter a token that is already in there. So could you, I don't know if that just flew over my head. Could you just elaborate on that? What happens?
Yeah, so when there is a like a token, so a collection that's in there, but it doesn't have any items like associated with it. If I would like try to go like create a list, it just like it throws an error if there's no if there's like nothing in the list. So
I see.
I think that's something related to one of the issues that we were having. I think it was Caitlin and I were having with like the add items and the issue that Lewis had added. So that to log new tokens in Firestore immediately after the creation, because for some reason, like something's getting weird if there's not something associated, like a document associated with it.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, I think it was us when we figured out that like if you don't add anything, then it just it doesn't put anything. It doesn't put that token up. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, that's making sense now. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Nice, super smooth. Any other questions or comments? Like, it was a straightforward issue, and I loved your just very clean, straightforward solution. It looks beautiful. Exactly what it needs to do. Any other questions or comments?
I like the violin music in the background.
I know.
It's very nice.
It's practice time. Practice time. Little accolade for you. Cool. All right. Team Canada. Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to demo this feature. And I'm going to start with the best practice established by Abby. Our issue this week was to create a functionality that enables the user to mark an item as purchased. And the acceptance criteria were, first of all, to have a UI element that allows them to mark the item as purchased. And second of all, show that box or that UI element is checked for 24 hours. So to demo this, I actually changed the number locally. So we're only going to keep the item purchased for 15 seconds because otherwise this demo would be very long. So I'm going to add a couple items. So I am going to show what is happening in Firebase while we are checking and unchecking the boxes. So I'm going to look for this token. This has been cleaned up.
Sometimes I have to refresh it.
Yeah, you're right. There it is. So we have our tomato with an empty array of purchase dates, and we have our mozzarella also with empty purchase dates. Now I'm going to mark tomato as purchased, and here it is. We have the first date here. Now I'm assuming 15 seconds have passed, so I'm going to reload this. And now tomato is unchecked. And if I check it again, then we have the second purchase date. Now I want to demo another thing, and for that I will quickly go to my code editor and I will change the interval back to 24 hours. So what I want to show you is what happens when the user decides to uncheck the box that they've already checked. So I'm going to mark mozzarella as purchased, and this appears here in Firebase. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to uncheck. and we can see that we have no more purchase dates here. So it's been emptied again. And if I want to mark tomato as not purchased, I'm going to try and click this thing. And what happens is in the database, we had 2 dates, and now we only have 1 because we removed the latest one. But we still have this one, which is within 24 hours. That's why it's showing as checked. And if I uncheck it again, then there are no more dates. The last bit was not really a part of the acceptance criteria, but we thought that it made sense to allow the user to uncheck the box as opposed to just keeping it checked and like disabling them from being able to control it. Sorry, English problems. Yeah, so this is the feature, and now I'm going to let Karan explain how we made it work.
Thanks, Arya. That was awesome. So for this feature, the biggest thing was the first thing we had to determine was how we were going to reflect this on the database. And as a result, we had to create a new field in our Firestore. So that would be the last purchase date over here. So originally, if we could remember what this was, purchase dates over here used to just be null or last purchase. It used to be called last purchase, and it used to be called, and the associated value was null. Now, how Daria and I originally approached this challenge was we basically created a field, and and as soon as the user clicked on the checkbox, it would generate a new date. So let's actually go through how this works right now. So first of all, what you will notice that in the items list, we've created a new component called the item component. This is in order, this is so that each individual component is autonomous, and it is easier to track the state for each one of them and reflect that state in return. So in this item component, we're passing the same props that you would assume: item name, ID, the key, well, the keys for React, the user token. The user token, I will explain why that's there, and the purchase dates. We ended up having the purchase dates being in the form of an array, and I'll explain why. So if we go into the item component, we basically utilize useEffect, and in useEffect, what it does is it looks at the array over here. If the length of the array is if there is nothing in the array, then it won't do anything. But if there is something in the array, then it will basically say, all right, so it will say, okay, so how long do we want this to be? Daria, I think for your demo, you said it was like 30 seconds or 20 seconds, I don't remember. But if we had it for 24 hours, it will be 86,400 seconds. And then what it would do is that it would look at how much time has elapsed and compare it to the amount of time that we want that purchased item to remain checked. So in order to calculate the time elapsed, we use the date library, date.now, divided by 1,000 because it gives you the value in milliseconds. And then we subtracted the latest date in our purchase dates field. the purchase dates, as I explained over here, was our Firebase field that we added. Now, I guess this is the better time than any to actually mention this. So when we eventually decided on making it an array, we thought that would be a great way to do it, as long as we can control. So if we make it, what's the word again? If it's a consistent behavior, if how we add to the array isn't like new dates to the array is done in a consistent manner. So if we do a push, the latest date will always be the last index item. So as a result, what we did over here was purchase dates. We take that array and then we take the purchase dates length -1. So that will be the last index. And we, Daria mentioned that you can use a seconds function over here or method. And I thought that was really cool. So we applied that over here, and it basically subtracted the amount of time that has elapsed to the current date that that React calculated there. So then once we've done that, the set checked hook that we created, basically this calculates, this is the state that controls whether a particular checkbox in an item component remains checked or not. So what it will do is, so you can see this checked over here, the value, and checked is equal to that value. So originally it was set to false, so that it starts off as unchecked. But then on render, what it will do is that we use basically the AND operator, and it will first check if the time elapsed is less than our limit. So if it's less than 24 hours in this case, and if that's true, then we basically set checked to true. And if set checked is true, then the checkbox remains checked. If it isn't, then obviously it will turn, the checked value will turn to false for this particular item component. And as a result, the checkbox will uncheck itself automatically. Now, when you click on a checkbox, so this is our handle click function. So if the checkbox is, it's funny, I don't quite remember why we did this, Daria, but originally we had it if unchecked or something like that. Anyways, I'll just go with this. If it's checked, if the checkbox is checked, then that means that we're manually trying to uncheck the box. So as a result, what we will do is we will remove the latest date that has been added to that array. And in order to do that, we use the pop method. And because the pop method basically mutates the original array, we basically, we mutated purchase dates over here. And then we took purchase dates and updated that array onto our database on Firestore. And that's why we had the user token here also, because we were using the DB function hook, maybe. Anyway, so if it's not checked, then obviously that means that the user is checking it for the first time, like purchasing it right now. Not for the first time, they're purchasing it. So we create a new date and we store it in this constant called date. And then we will update that, the Firebase field for that user token. And for that document ID, we will update the date in the purchase dates array. So we use the array, what's it called? The spread operator over here. And then we added the new date to that. Anyway, so that's how we dealt with this. Oh yeah, one thing that Lauren had mentioned Thank you for pointing this out. We didn't have HTML4 in the attribute in the label, which we ended up adding for accessibility reasons. I believe when we didn't have that, you can click on the label, and as a result, that would not check, like that would not toggle the checkbox. So that actually is kind of nice, not only for accessibility. I kind of like that as a user experience. So yeah, that's pretty much it from the code on our end. Daria, am I missing something in particular?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. Well, that is our issue. Any questions, concerns?
That's a tricky one. This is a very tricky issue. I think that, and you talked through it very, very well. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to slow down. Oh yeah, sorry. Can I just mention something?
Yeah.
I totally missed this part. Lauren had actually pointed this out. Originally we did not have an array. We had just a date value. And what would happen is that if the user unchecked it, it would just switch to null. And that only works if this is the first time the user is actually purchasing this after adding it to the list. But it doesn't work for other cases. And I believe it was pointed out that in issue 11, it will be we will need to track past dates, which would help with this. Sorry, that's it.
Yeah, one thing, I think that it's the issue that's coming up this weekend. I can't remember off the top of my head, but removing a date from the array when you uncheck something might, you might not want to do that going forward. So whoever is working on that issue where we're estimating like when the next purchase date is going to be, it might work a little bit better instead, like when you're unchecking something, just to do nothing to the database, because going forward, you're going to want to, you need like 2 different date values to compare, like, oh, when's the last time I purchased this thing, right? I'm purchasing it today. When is the last time that I purchased it? And then it's going to estimate for you. There's a function that will estimate for you when the next estimated purchase date is. So removing dates from that purchase dates array is kind of getting rid of that data that will help you calculate that information. So whoever is working on that might want to rethink that part of it. We'll have to see. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might work a little bit better just to keep that information in the array.
So out of curiosity, I mean, we could definitely have this conversation further, but we originally had that feature to uncheck something and remove that data was in case someone had by accident checked it. So that data would not be valid at that point, right? Or am I missing what your point was?
No, I mean, I think that you're right. It's and it's something that can be like, you can decide as a group, like what's a better experience for the user, what meets those requirements. It's true, like, oops, what if I checked something by accident, right? And then I just want to uncheck it. Or and the shopping list is a quote unquote smart shopping list. So let's say you did buy something and then you uncheck it by accident, or you're like, oh, I'm going to buy it tomorrow, so I want to make sure that I uncheck it. Like I do that all the time on my handheld shopping list. I'll uncheck it 'cause like, yep, I know that I'm going to buy this thing again. So that's a decision that you all can think about too. So yeah,
that's fair.
And I just want to ask one question, and this might be out of scope, but have you tested this out with like 2 browsers kind of working on the same list? Because I know we can add people onto your shopping list, so presumably there's this chance that like you might be checking an item off as well as someone else checking an item off, or like vice versa, because you're mutating this array. and you're like pushing into the database, that could kind of equal some funky situations. Again, seems out of scope, but assuming like your real world applications have like multiple users, so it's always something to think about the concurrency.
No, that's a very good point. And the only way I can actually think about like working around that would be basically doing a date calculation and seeing if this check to true has happened within the last, let's just say, second or something like that. But yeah, that's something that I would actually like to see how it's tackled.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like outscape, but I don't think it's in any of the acceptance criteria. So yeah, just a curiosity.
No, for sure. And I was actually thinking like maybe even setting like, obviously out of scope again, but like just setting a timeout on like use effect, so that like you don't have to refresh it in order to see the most up-to-date list, because someone could be on it and then it updates and you don't notice it. And that this very much intersects with what Jono said in terms of two people using it, and it's not reflected on someone else's when someone's checked.
Yeah, I think that it might actually be okay because Firebase is listening, like your app is listening for changes in Firebase. So it might not be perfect, but your app actually might update when the database updates.
Interesting. I guess are you always pulling fresh purchase dates though? Is that?
I think so. It would be
so.
interesting to tell like whatever pair is kind of working on it for this coming week. Like somebody has their phone where they are and the other person has their phone where they are, and you can pull it up on production, or you could pull up like your feature branch URL on your phone. That would be really cool to see, like if Curran, you check something off and then it updates on Daria's phone or something. That'd be neat. Cool. Really nice work on this one. This issue like is one of the hardest issues in the whole project for sure. Anytime you're working with dates, it's really, really, really challenging. And you two just really sailed through it, like really sailed through it. I was really impressed. Nice job. Cool. All right, any other questions or comments?
I mean, I said this in chat, but that was really clear. Both the explanation and the code. I think the comments you all included made it really easy to follow during code review.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool. All right. Nice job. Lewis, I will hand it off to you.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen. So this week we're going to be doing the retros. Can everyone see my screen? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you want me to give everyone like 5 minutes to quickly go through each column, maybe add what we want since the last retro. So like maybe like the last 2 weeks, if you can remember anything, since that's where our last retro was, feel free to add any appreciations, what went well, what can be improved, in action items. And then we can start back up again, like 40 past the hour.
Cool. I'm gonna pause the recording too. Please help me remember to unpause the recording.
Do you want to start recording again?
Yep, just did. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll start with the appreciations first, and we'll just go down the list. So we'll start with Abby. Do you want to start with you?
Yeah, so per usual, I wrote too much, but the point that I was trying to get at is that for me, typically, I have a hard time admitting that I don't know a certain thing or that I have never seen something, because I'm so afraid that it'll make me seem like less confident, or I'm just like not a good developer, any of those things. And like, but all my teammates make me feel so comfortable that I can honestly be like, I have no idea what that is. Can you help me out? And they're like, they just make me feel comfortable enough to be able to say that. And I don't know, for me, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're all supportive here. Caitlin?
Yeah, I said Curran is a fantastic team member and always willing to go above and beyond what is expected of him. I feel like he's just very hardworking and willing to pitch in as much as he like physically can, which is awesome.
How are you, Karen?
Thanks for that, Kaylin. Really appreciate it. A lot of it is I was just bored at work. Not many calls coming into the large animal hospital. Anyway, so loving all the really good quality pull request reviews from everyone. Yeah, I mean, I just love how the mentors have taught us to provide feedback in a constructive manner, so that like obviously like you're not like no one's feelings are hurt or anything like that, but at the same time like they know that like we're all in the same team. I'm really starting to see the value in this. Really helps my code, helps me like analyze where I'm kind of lacking and where I can improve. And yeah, thank you so much.
Caitlin?
Yeah, I said I'm learning a lot from Abby's communication skills and how she's able to sum up large ideas in an easy to understand way. I feel like she does a really good job of boiling down really complex ideas into a way that sounds a lot simpler than it is.
Awesome. Jonathan?
Yeah, I just want to shout out Lauren for awesome reminders in Slack. It keeps us all informed of what's happening. It's been really helpful.
Always on top of it. Oh yeah, my comment, pretty similar to Caitlin's. I think everyone is doing a great job in their demos and being able to vocalize their thought process and explaining things. You all are doing amazing work with that. So I appreciate it. And Caitlin again?
I put a lot. I said that I'm still blown away by Daria's explanation of the token generator. And I think that particular anecdote is just really encapsulates the curiosity that she brings. And she's always kind of digging deeper and not just accepting things at face value, and really kind of pushes me also to ask more questions and learn more through the process.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I just want to say great working on the PRs this week. It feels like everyone's really clicking. It was really cool to see.
Great. Daria?
So I really appreciate the support from all the mentors, and I think that it's awesome to see everyone's approach to debugging and troubleshooting while like we're stuck on something. So I think that it's a super valuable learning experience.
Absolutely. And now Daria again.
Sorry. Also, Karan single-handedly handled all the comments that we got in our PR this week, because I was working on a job application and I just really appreciate it.
Awesome. And Lauren?
Yeah. So I just want to give a special shout out to Lewis, who really went that extra mile this week. He's always just jumping in and helping everyone. But he was helping out a member from a different team, and it's just always really so responsive, and that's so awesome. And then I can't read very well. Okay. I just really appreciate how thoughtful everyone is and how supportive and just how great you are, just all communicating in Slack. You're just all doing a fantastic job. And this is honestly one of the best groups that I've worked with here at the Collab Lab, and that is saying a lot. So yeah, you're a really great bunch.
Great, lots of appreciation this week. It's awesome. All right, so let's go with what went well. Karen, you want to start?
Yeah, I knew, well, I've heard from other programmers that dates are the bane of a lot of coders. It can be quite a it can be quite tricky. And this is something that actually I wanted to look into working like with, because I had a similar thing where I was creating a task list and I wanted to uncheck it after 24 hours. But yeah, working with Daria, it was super smooth. And just her, like the way she explains things and her thought process, it's very easy to work with someone and build on their ideas or build with their ideas when you like they can explain it very well. And I really appreciated that. And she brought Daria, you brought like your experience with using some date methods, and yeah, that helped us a lot. So thank you.
Great. Caitlin?
This has been said by a few people at this point, but I agree that code reviews have been going super smoothly. Anytime I've ever run into any problem, people have been really responsive in the comments. To reiterate, Lauren, like Lewis in particular, I don't know, your time management skills are crazy because you're always like immediately responding to everything we need. But yeah, in general, code reviews have been a dream. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks. My one, well, earlier this week I did office hours with Karen and Daria, and we both used live share on VS Code, which was pretty awesome. It worked really nice because we had some trouble sharing our screen, so that was our solution. So glad that went well.
Cool.
Jonathan?
Yeah, demoing off the prod URL whenever you have a chance was great. I think it's cool. You don't need to worry about localhost and avoid any of those mishaps that might happen during demo time. And then my next one is great presentation on pair programming, Lewis. That was awesome.
I also like the branch URLs too. Those have been helpful when I'm reviewing.
Yeah.
Oh, John. Oh, this is me again. Oh, nice. I saw that you guys started getting started on discussions and the discussion tab in GitHub for some UI stuff and UX stuff. So I thought that was nice. And Lauren.
Yep. Yeah, I think that code review has been going really well. Everyone's been really thoughtful and helpful, so that's been great. And then the feedback cycle has been also very fast, which is great. Everyone's jumping on code review quickly. Really good planning by everyone, thinking through your issues before coding. It just helps everything go much more smoothly. And then I also think the pairing threads have been going really well. So keep up the good work with that.
Great. So what could be improved? Abby, do you want to start?
Yeah, I was just thinking, just because I had saw on Daria and Corinne's PR this week about like adding the code for like the seconds. So I don't know, adding more comments to our code, but I like personally, I'm not very confident when it's like too much or too little. I tend to like over explain things because I feel like my code knowledge is not that vast as of right now. So I don't know, maybe I need more explanation than other people. It's a touch and go subject.
There's a really good video on YouTube that I can share with you guys on comments. There was a talk about comments, and I think it's really effective. It was like only a half-hour talk, so maybe I'll share that with the group if you're interested.
That'd be great.
Okay. So as we get into the second half of the project, I think organization could be a little bit better with the apps. I think all of our components are like in one directory, and it might get a little bit unorganized. So just thinking forward, begin organizing components into directories and stuff. That was my only comment there. Daria?
That's kind of a self-reflection, but I think that I should work more on thinking on my feet when I'm pair programming, because it takes me a moment to like figure out the best solution. And while I'm doing that, I'm making my partner like type something and retype and redo stuff. And yeah, so that's just something that I need to work on.
And Roy.
My turn. Yeah. Oh, I want to comment on what Abby said too about comments. So I think next week is the presentation on communication for developers, and comments will be a part of that. And I would love to see that video too, Louis. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so for myself personally, I will be better about being a little noisier in Slack this week. I kind of let the week get away from me a little. And then I just did pop in on the discussion board just to see how that was going. And I wanted to check in with the group on how pairing has been going, and just a reminder about the time commitment. Just want to check in and see how everyone's feeling about those things. So just kind of ideas to raise.
All right, and action items. So you want to start, Karen?
Yeah, I know we created I believe we created a discussion on the UX and UI design ideas. Maybe like we could, like, I don't know, convene as a group. I know everyone's got something going on during the week, so we can work around that if we can't meet like via Zoom as a group. I was thinking like just a 15-20 minute just chat about where we, like, what we're looking at in terms of like what we want our app to start looking like. So yeah, I think that would be nice, but I'm open to suggestions.
It's definitely gonna have avocados, right? So,
For sure.
It's a requirement.
It's automatically added to the list.
Every time you add a new user token, avocado is automatically added as an item.
Yeah, we shouldn't default to add new item. It's just avocado. Add new avocado.
Exactly.
all right, Daria.
I just wanted to say that I agree with Karan that we should start discussing the design, because it only takes like 1 week according to our issues, but I think that it's a lengthy like piece of work, and if we have an opportunity to start it earlier, then we should. And also we are, my suggestion is that we are having some issues that are not a part of the original kind of task, but they still need to be worked on. So if people have time throughout the week, it would be great to work on those issues. But again, like, we are all trying to keep the time commitment to the minimum. So I am happy to pick up some issues like outside of the team if like my teammate is not up for that. So yeah, just something to think about.
Great. That's really great feedback. And now, Jonathan, do you want to go through the issues for this week?
Yeah, for sure. I need to check my screen. Or do you just want to go to the, oh, okay, never mind. I got it.
Sorry, I didn't know.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. So we have, that's the retro. Why do I do this? So the two issues this week, bar any other ones that you work on, are number 9, number 10. So first off, can you see my screen? Is that all good? Okay, great. Let's dive into issue number 9. So as a user, I want to filter my shopping list to make it easier to locate an item in the list. So acceptance criteria is displaying a text field above the top of the shopping list. As the user types into the field, the list should narrow to display only items that contain the text the user entered in the filter field. When the field has text in it, the user should be able to tap the UI element example, with an X button next to the field to clear the field, and the filter text should match any part of the item name. It should not only match from the start of the string. And before I go too far into this, the pairs this week are Abigail and Daria, and Karen and Caitlin. So that's issue 1. And then let me go through issue 2, and then you guys can decide. So issue number 10. Interesting. Okay, as an item, I want my estimated next purchase date to be computed at the time a purchase is recorded in the database, so the app can learn how often I buy different items. So acceptance criteria is when a purchase is recorded, the estimated number of days until the next purchase date should be calculated and recorded in the database. The script should be used to calculate the next estimated purchase interval. So any questions and thoughts on which ones people want to see, people want to take?
I'm open with either.
Yeah, same.
Abby, Daria, any preferences? Cool. I instantly forgot. Okay. Let's see. Do you have any questions about him? Maybe that could help.
So number 9 is essentially just it's just a search bar. That's just filtering them. Yeah.
Looks like it does fuzzy searching. Should match any part of the item name.
Mm-hmm. That one looks interesting. I mean, the other one also looks interesting, but
Yeah, I'm down to do that one.
yeah, you want to do that? Okay,
Cool.
let's do it.
All right. So Abidari taking number 10.
Okey-doke. All right,
That's
so
it.
Karen and Caitlin are doing filtering.
Yep.
Nabby and Daria are doing dates. Excellent. Awesome. All right,
Thank you.
everybody. Great work this week. Yeah. Well, gosh, we're week 5. I'm so excited. Okay, nice. I can't see anybody because I set my glasses down. My naughty dog. So Abby, I totally sympathize with you. So my my huge dog is also like super nervous and not very friendly to anybody outside of our family. So she was outside and terrorizing the neighbor children. Sorry. So sad. Okay. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And I will see you on Slack. And yeah. Bye, everyone. Great work.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good week.
Bye.